All right. I think I am live. Yeah. There we go. All right, guys. Let's give it a few seconds for people to show up into the stream. Connor 21 Jets, James Murphy, Lame Cactus, Alert, Socrates Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, so our Jets fall to 0-13. The perfect season continues. Alex, Ethan, Tony, what's good, boys? Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Tuning in. Tony says, I blame Manish Mehta for this loss. Ugh. I blame Manish Mehta for a lot of things. I am so glad he lost his beat reporter status for the New York Jets. Guy can go suck on some eggs elsewhere. Joe S. What's good, brother? Damien says 3 games left. All right. So we got a few people in here. I'll start this off. We have started and continued our perfect season. We are 0-13 right now. We have 3 more games. We got the Rams, the Browns, and the Patriots. Those are the 3 games we need to lose to secure the number 1 overall pick, or we need a Jaguars win. I was thinking the Jaguars beating the Bears was our most likely chance, but based on the Bears score this week, I'm not really thrilled with what we, with our prospects. I think they're going to go 1-15. I think we're going to have to go 0-16. So that's not great. All right. So before we get things started off, let's see. I never posted the question. I got a question of the day, but I'll save it till tomorrow. All right. For those of you in the chat, let's talk a little bit about this game. Initial thoughts. So this is a Jamal Adams revenge game. He's coming back to, well, not coming back to MetLife. He didn't come back to MetLife. We went out to Seattle, but he's versing his former team. And not just him, literally like the Seattle Jets. Like that's what it is. You got Pete Carroll was our former head coach. Their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, was our offensive coordinator for a long time. You have Geno Smith, who came in at the end of the third quarter to play the rest of the game. They wound up sitting Russell Wilson. You got Brandon Shell, who was our right tackle last year. We actually have Seattle's old right tackle in George Fant. You got Jason Myers, who's kicking incredibly well. I mean, just think about if we had him instead of Sergio Castillo, who missed three field goals this game. So a lot of familiar faces, and obviously Jamal Adams, Seattle, from the Jets as of via trade. So, what do I make of it? Well, the first throw of the game was to Herndon, and it was right in front of Jamal Adams, and it made me happy. It warmed my heart to see that. Jamal then drops an interception, as Eddie points out in the chat. I loved it. That was fantastic. It hit him square in the chest. Now, when I'm looking at this game overall, hold on. Let me just rant a little bit about Jamal Adams. So, the game almost went perfectly for me. We throw and kind of like get our first down in front of Jamal Adams. That was kind of nice. Then he drops an interception. I was like, that's par for the course. This just makes sense. It's kind of what we saw from him. His only 2 interceptions, by the way, in his career, Jamal Adams. One was against Jared Stidham in garbage time. The other was against Matt Castle in garbage time. So he's never gotten an interception from a starting quarterback before. $18 million a year? Or would you prefer to have 2 first-round picks? I'll take the 2 first-round picks. Thank you very much. And then let's talk about the bullshit we saw with friggin'... Jamal Adams gets the sack record for defensive backs against the New York Jets. So you're talking 8.5 sacks. He needed 1 sack to break the record. The record was 8 sacks by, I believe, Adrian Wilson back in 2005 or 2007 for the Cardinals. So he breaks that record. And the way he breaks that record is just like the most deflating way possible. Because it wasn't even really like a sack. I mean, it goes down as a sack, but Sam runs out of bounds. Like, all he had to do was just like throw the ball a little bit. Like, Jamal probably influenced him going out of bounds. And, if you want to call the loss of yards a sack, I get it. I don't buy it as a sack because you didn't tackle the quarterback. Whatever. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I love the part where Jamal was like jumping up and down. He's like, yeah, I caused a fumble. Then it's like snacks. It's Harrison that causes the fumble, not Jamal. Jamal was just in on the tackle. Ugh. Can you tell I'm a little salty at Jamal? It's okay. I don't care. I wish him the best. I just hope he bites his tongue when he's eating his dinner. That's, maybe burns his tongue on some hot coffee or something like that. All right. So let's take a few looks at this game. There's not a whole lot of positives there. Obviously, Sergio Castillo misses the 3 field goals, so leaving another 9 points out on the field. The Jets have scored on their first possession in 7 straight games. Unfortunately, it was the only points we score all game. We could not get the ball into scoring position, and it is brutal. Absolutely brutal. You look at Marcus May's acrobatic interception on DK. He's one-on-one with him in the front corner of the end zone, and just the tip ball and just the concentration to intercept the ball. I would much rather lock in May long-term, on a 3-4 year deal, whatever it is, than the money we were going to have to pay Jamal Adams. Now, hopefully May still wants to stay here. He is a free agent at the end of the year, and it would not shock me, given everything that's gone on, if he decides he wants to leave. Now, that would be bittersweet for me. I shouldn't say bittersweet. I would be upset if he wanted to leave. I think he's going to wind up going to either Miami or Tampa Bay to try and win a ring. He's a Florida guy, so I could see that. Aside from that, Sam goes all game, pretty sure, did not have an interception, but could have had 3 interceptions. There's 3 times Jamal had one hit him in the chest. There was a tip ball at the line of scrimmage that definitely should have been picked. The 2 defenders, right at the line of scrimmage, ran into each other. And then you have was it a linebacker, I think, in the end of the third quarter, or middle of the third quarter? Drops another interception. So Sam having a very, very bad game. We are not going to get... I want to say we're not going to get a lot for Sam, but him playing the quarterback position, being a former 3rd overall pick, I could see someone, thinking they could reclaim him. Now, is that actually going to happen, or are we just going to get like a 3rd round pick, which is what a lot of people kind of think we're going to wind up getting for Sam. I know, I think Schefter had said at one point a 2 and a 5, similar to the Rosen deal. I don't buy it. I don't see it. Based on everything we've seen from Sam, I thought Geno Smith looked like a better quarterback right now than what we were getting out of Sam today. So really, really not great from a play perspective and from an offense perspective. What else we got? So if I had to go with my top 5 takeaways, right now, and I'll kind of go through it. You'll see my top 5 takeaway video come out a little later on tonight. Sam looked bad, 3 drop passes. Castillo misses 3 field goals. We're going to need a new kicker. I said in my mock offseason, bring back Fick and bring back Sergio. I thought either one was looking all right. Now, in the last, 3-4 games, whatever it's been, they've both looked terrible in all their starting time. So we need a kicker, and we need a kicker bad. Especially when you see Jason Myers on the other sideline kicking at a Pro Bowl level. Why the Jets let him go, I have no idea. Jamal gets a sack record because Sam ran out of bounds. Said that before. I'm a little frustrated. May with the great interception. And then 7 straight weeks of scoring on the opening possession. So not a whole lot to take away from this game. It's going to be a relatively easy 5 takeaways overall. Who we got? V-Man. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, would you wear a clown costume from an Italian opera for the rest of your life if it meant the Jets will win a Super Bowl next year? Ooh. I can jump on that grenade for you guys. I would do that because it means you guys get a Super Bowl, and if I have to wear a clown costume the rest of my life, it'll be worth it. Doing it for you. Good question, Vinny. What else are you guys saying in the chat? Alex says, it pained me to see Jamal laughing on the sideline. Yeah, he sucks. I can't stand him. He's so overhyped. If Sam would have just thrown the ball away on the sack, Jamal Adams basically would have been invisible. Yeah, he did nothing all game for the most part. I mean, he had that one play that was almost an interception. That was like almost a good play. And then he almost had that forced fumble, but that was, Harrison. And then I'm going to call he almost had a sack. That sack shouldn't count. That sack has me not as irritated as the Strahan sack back when, Favre laid down, but it was comparable to that in my frustration. Eddie says Sergio missed 3 field goals because the laces were in. Finkel missed the kick. Laces out. Oh. Tony Yayo says you don't pay box safeties. There's a real argument to be had. Is Jamal Adams actually a safety, or is he actually a linebacker? How often is he actually in coverage, and how often does he actually play well in coverage? He really doesn't. He's one of the worst safeties in coverage, according to Pro Football Focus. So, we'll see. Whatever. He's not on our team. I don't want to talk about him. Except for when I do my 5 takeaways and all these other craziness. Flow through whatever your name is. They hire me, and the coaching situation is all good. JD may not be the guy, certainly not a geezer like Casserly. I believe in Joe Douglas. I don't believe in his scouting of kickers, because his kicker situation the last two years has not been very good between Vedvik, Ficken, and Castillo. A lot left to be desired. Eddie says May's more interception than Jamal. May has 2 interceptions on this season. Jamal has 2 interceptions in his career. That's ridiculous. Like, for all the hype that Jamal is and was supposed to be, the guy is very, very lackluster in big moments. That said, his athleticism is impressive. I think he's a good blitzing, linebacker, if you want to call him a linebacker or strong safety or, whatever the title is. Very frustrated with seeing him get as much airtime. Like, everyone's always talking about oh my God, he's so good. He's one of the best defensive backs in the league. 2 first-round picks, huge contract. I don't think Seattle's paying him. I'd be pretty surprised if that happened. What are you guys talking about? Alert says first drive was good. Rest of the game, trash. That's true. We got our initial initial 3 points, and everything was downhill from there. Vincent Jones, breaking news. Jamal Adams bites his tongue, and he is currently roasting the Seattle's cooks that gave him hard turkey after their game. Oh, God, I hope he stubs his toe and just, maybe he wets the bed or something. I don't know. I'm done with Jamal. Kilted Haggis. Feel sorry for Sam, but it's becoming apparent he's not going to be a starter in the NFL after this. Be lucky to get a 3rd-round pick, maybe even a 4th-round pick. Based on everything we're seeing, put yourself in any other team's shoes and think, okay, what would be the price to give up for I think it's a 1-year, $5 million contract is what it winds up being for Sam, because I think he has a roster bonus, but I think the roster bonus transfers over. So for 1 year, $5 million, or 2 years, $5 million, and then $25 million, obviously no one's going to pick up the $25 million option. But what could we get for Sam? Would you give up a 3rd-round pick for this type of quarterback? I wouldn't. But that's also because we're playing really well. If we had an aging quarterback like a Drew Brees, like a Phillip Rivers, like a Ben Roethlisberger, someone in that type of vein, where you think there may be an extra year from one of those players, and you want to just try 1 year with Sam. Because what's the worst case scenario? You give up a 3rd-round pick, and you potentially have a reclamation project that plays really well. Possible. Option 2, Sam plays absolutely horrible like he is doing now, and you wind up with a really high pick. So I think the Jets will be able to get a 3rd-round pick from one of those teams, just because it's almost an investment where there's not too much of a downside. I mean, if he winds up playing like well and you go like 8-8 or something like that, then I guess that's the biggest downside, because you don't know if you have the franchise quarterback, and then you don't know, if you'll be able to draft one either. So interesting thoughts there. V-Man, thank you so much for the super chat. Again, he says, for those worried, Bill will ruin our tank week 17. He won't, because he wants to pass Shula's win total of 347 wins, and he cannot afford to throw games at this time. Let's see what is... Check. He's got 261 wins. Is that correct? Let me just pull up Wikipedia real quick. Regular season 277. He's got 308 total. So I don't know if that 347 is including the playoffs or not. But he's got a crap ton. So that means he's going to have to coach for, if it's the 308 number, like 3 more years. Is that math right? 16 times 3? Something like that. Yeah, basically 3 more years of a lot of wins. Tony says Darnold greater than Trubisky. I don't know. Trubisky stinks. So does Sam. So I guess that's the best comparison, I guess. So Sam Darnold is not playing well. And let's say we need a quarterback, and we have an aging quarterback. Would you give up a 3rd round pick for Mitch Trubisky if you were picking at the end of the first round? Nope. I would not. I do think Sam has shown more than Trubisky. I also think that there's something to be said for the Adam Gase situation and how well Tannehill's doing, how well Kenyon Drake's doing, how well Devontae Parker's doing, Robbie Anderson. Like, all these guys that have been in an offense, Kalen Ballage, like literally every guy that plays under Adam Gase just plays horribly. So I think you could talk people into the idea of like, hey, Gase is so bad, you're gonna get some better production out of the players you get from there, and you might be able to get them for a bargain. So I think some teams will look at that. So we'll see. Let's see. I would love to see Blitzboy lose first round in the playoffs. Oh man, that would make me so happy. If the Seahawks wind up losing in the first round of the playoffs, and then we wind up getting like the 20th pick or something. Actually, it might even be lower because they're not winning the division right now. I think the Rams own that top spot right now. So I think they're sitting the first spot in the wild card, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, that would be huge. That would put us at, I think, the 20th pick, because I believe it goes back to, 18 now? So that would be interesting. Or maybe we get lucky and they wind up, missing the playoffs. That's... Guy can hope. I don't see it happening, but a guy can hope. Ryan says, tough loss, but I would have preferred a loss over a short-lived revenge win. I 100% agree. If there was one game I would have liked to win, this would be it. If you have to give me one win, that's it. But I don't want any wins. I want 0-16. I've been very vocal about this since probably week 5. So I am going to ride or die on that. I am 100% not behind Sam anymore. I love Sam. I hope he does well elsewhere. He is not our quarterback of the future. And anyone who believes he is needs to take the red pill or the blue pill, whichever Matrix one that is, and wake yourself up, because he is not the quarterback of the future. He's broken. He's regressed. It's not all on Sam. It's Adam Gase. It's McCagnon. It's Idzik. It's, the drafts that we had going back to 2012 through now, this should be the core of our team. And we have no one on this roster. Red Pill's truth. There we go. Good stuff. Thank you, Bronze. Yeah, no, it's ugly. And I don't know how else to say it. It's disappointing. I would have loved to. I believed in Sam. I thought Sam was going to break all our records in a single season if he played a full season. And from last year to this year, he has gotten so much worse. It's unreal. This offense, when you look at what we had last year to this year, I refuse to believe that that was a better offense last year. I don't. The offensive line's definitely better this year for sure. Sam's not running the way he is. He's just missing wide open guys. He's not throwing to wide open guys. Running back situation, no Bell. I get, not great. So I guess that's an issue. Our receivers, Robbie Anderson would have been better, but Sam can't hit the long ball anyway. So does it really matter that we don't have Robbie? Maybe with Trevor. Trevor's got a few issues with his long ball as well. That's going to be an issue we'll have to discuss in the offseason. But yeah, not too thrilled. Joe S. says Sam gives us our best chance to get Lawrence. I agree. That team looks abysmal. And I think as long as Sam is the quarterback of our team, we will be going 0-16. My biggest fear, though, is the Patriots Week 17. Because with Cam playing, the Patriots win. With Sam playing and Stidham on the other side, I'm not as confident. I think Stidham is very bad. Oh, Jeremy says, we need more than just Lawrence, though. I agree. We do. That's why we have $80 million in cap space. We have I think we have the most draft capital of any team. If you go to Tankathon, it's a website. It'll give you an idea of the draft power ranking. So who owns the most amount of points? Each draft pick is assigned a certain value based on some arbitrary, metrics and whatnot. We don't have the most picks. The Jaguars, I believe, have the most picks in the best position, but they have a total of 4,790 points worth of draft picks. The Jets have 4,933. And mainly, the main reason the Jets are beating the Jags in that particular category is because of that first pick. If the Jags own the first pick, they'd probably have 5,000 points worth of draft picks. And below the Jets and Jags, so you got 4,900 for the Jets, you got almost 4,800 for the Jags. It would be the Dolphins right below them at 3,200. So you're talking 1,500 points less to the next closest team. So the Jets and Jags are in very good position. Whoever winds up getting the first overall pick, I'm hoping it's the Jets. Whoever gets that first overall pick is going to be in really good shape to get the head coach they want, which, if you're like me, I want Bill Cowher. I want him to come out. I want the Jets to pay him a ton of money. And then I want him to hire some, elite coordinators, bring in all the guys. Let's reset this culture. There's going to be a bunch of guys we can discuss. I'll start going through the different names over the next few weeks. Now that I'm done with work, I can kind of almost make a video every day as long as I got something to kind of talk about. I did my Cowher video and I did my Harbaugh video already. So if you guys haven't checked those out, you can take a look at those. I know a lot of people don't want Jim Harbaugh because of his personality. But, man, that guy just wins games. Aside from this season at Michigan, his whole stint at Michigan was definitely, a disappointment compared to the hype. But, man, I think he would be the most winningest coach to come in for the New York Jets. So if you're able to generate that type of excitement, I don't need a long-term head coach. I could take Jim Harbaugh for 4 years, 5 years. I can live with that. I can, Cowher comes out. I would take him for 3-4 years, whatever it is. Groom his heir apparent. There's a lot of things the Jets need: head coaching and the number one overall pick. The number one overall pick to get the head coach is the most important part right now. Let's get the head coach after the season. We know we're getting Trevor Lawrence. If we have that number one overall pick and we have the head coach, then we have to start attracting free agents, and things start to waterfall, and that's good stuff. Dennis says, "Are we trading Mosley and then re-signing Hewitt?" I'm fine with bringing back Hewitt. I don't think he's real good. He's got a ton of tackles. Mosley's not getting traded. His contract is horrible. It is so bad. I don't think any team's going to be willing to take that on. If we can get anything for him, I probably would trade him. I don't trust that he's all there mentally. I don't think he's 100% here to play, unless Joe Douglas goes in and hey, yo, Mosley, sit out a year. Let's hold this contract off. Let's save your body for a season. I'll do you a solid. Let's toll it till next year. Maybe that's what happened. I've had some people ask me if I thought that. I would be okay with that. Broadway O, if the Jets trot out Darnold against the Patriots, I'm going to be completely annoyed. Ownership should fire Gase on the spot after the Browns game. Yes, if the Jets go 0-6 or 0-15 and you're heading into week 17 against the Patriots, you fire Gase. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would fire Gase and I would force whoever is going to be the interim head coach for that one game to start Morgan. You're not going to win with Morgan. He's going to make a bunch of boneheaded mistakes. He hasn't had a preseason. He didn't have a training camp. He's been inactive for who knows how many weeks. I completely agree. Especially if the Patriots are looking as bad as they've looked the last few weeks. I would be I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that one. I really am. Edward says Lawrence will blow out an ACL in his first game. Trade the pick for draft picks. Edward, don't put that bad juju on me. Don't do it, dude. Oh, I'm not a fan. I like you, Edward, but man, Debbie Downer over there. No, Lawrence is a smart kid. He knows how to get down, but ACLs, man, that's scary. That's a big. So let's talk about this for a brief moment. Joe Burrow goes down with an ACL tear. That is the biggest fear because now he may be out for an extended period of time. Like he's probably missing at least the beginning part of next season. Now you don't want that to happen to Trevor Lawrence. That's why the offensive line is just so important. We have the left tackle. I guarantee the Bengals picking 3. They're taking Penei Sewell. There's no way they're passing on him. The guy opted out for the entire year. He's going to be arguably the best player in the country, if not the second best behind Lawrence, and he's going to be taken 3rd overall by the Bengals, and they'll protect their quarterback. We'll see. We'll see. I understand the thought of wanting to trade out. I do not want to at all. I would be very upset with the Jets. We have enough ammo. We have enough, money in free agency to be able to turn this around without trading down. Get the quarterback of the future. You don't know when you'll ever be up this high again. Once you start loading your team with talent in free agency, with all these draft picks, there's going to be a really, really tough time for you to try and get back up to the top 5. Now, the Jets may pick, at 6 or whatever, but we might have to give up a huge haul of picks to get the quarterback again. So take it when you can get it. It's the reason why the Jets should have never taken Jamal Adams, and they should have taken Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. I fully believe that Mike McCagnon did not want to come off as looking bad for drafting Hackenberg in the 2nd round. They knew what they had in him, and they just wanted to push it off. They were looking ahead to the Darnold draft, and they're like, hey, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year. And they punted on the quarterback, and it hurt us a lot. Imagine having Patrick Mahomes and Quentin Nelson, plus another 3 second-round picks. That's what the Jets could have had. That hurts. Not to mention, with those 3 second-round picks, if you wanted a receiver 2 years ago, you could have taken DK Metcalf. But we traded our pick away. So we only had our 3rd overall pick, and then we didn't have another pick till the 3rd round. DK was taken at the end of the 2nd round, I believe. So the Jets could have had him. These are the types of implications with trading up for players. You miss on some amazing prospects because you get rid of all your draft picks. Alex says, JD said he really doesn't want to spend big in free agency, and good teams build through the draft, and that's something McCagnon just couldn't comprehend. Yes, I completely agree. I do think I do think Douglas is going to spend a little bit. We have $80 million in cap space in a year where everyone else is going to be releasing players to get under the cap. So it may not necessarily be big, but I think we could sign a lot of players because there's going to be so many issues with other teams. Now, the one player I think he will make the highest paid player at their position if he shakes free. I believe he was going to do it last year. It's Joe Thuney, the guard from the Patriots. The guy plays every single offensive line position. I think he's got, last time I checked, like 2 weeks ago, he has two penalties on the season. He has not missed a game in his career. The guy is, and not even two penalties in this season. He's got 2 penalties in the last 2 years, unless something has changed in the last week or two. But the guy just doesn't get penalized. He's smart. He's healthy. He plays all the positions you want. That's who I'm throwing a ton of money at. 100%. You could even convince me. No, I probably wouldn't. If they slap the franchise tag on him, I'm not giving him. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for him. But you understand where I feel about this guy. I like him a lot. But yeah, we got to build depth. That's a big important. Not necessarily spending big in free agency. Like I don't want to go for a running back like Le'Veon Bell. Back when Bell was signed, I was all for it because I thought we were going to use him the right way. If I knew now what I didn't know then, With the way that Gase was playing Bell, there is no way in hell I would have ever rooted for that signing. Pretty upset. Joe S. says, I'm rooting for the Patriots the next 3 weeks. I think we all are. It's going to be tough for them to actually getting, into the playoffs at this point. What else? What do you think about Mel Kiper Jr. saying the Jets get the number 2 pick? We should trade down and keep Darnold. I'm probably going to make a video on that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Mel Kiper comes out and says if the Jets get the first pick, absolutely take Lawrence. If they get the second pick, they should trade down and keep Sam. I cannot disagree more. The rookie franchise quarterback on the rookie contract is so valuable. So valuable. I believe it was 8 of the last 18 quarterbacks to play in the Super Bowl, so that's winning team and losing team, have been on rookie contracts. And the highest percentage of cap that a quarterback has had while winning a Super Bowl since the rookie salary cap has become a thing is 12.2% of that team's cap. And that was Tom Brady against the Falcons, I think. The highest quarterback to get into the Super Bowl in terms of their price to their team's salary cap was Matt Ryan. That was 15% of his team's overall cap. So it can happen. But you saw that team break down the Super Bowl. If they had an extra 5% of their salary cap, do they have a handful more players that could be fresh or better? Maybe they don't lose that Super Bowl. It's interesting to think about. I would not trade the number 2 pick. I would take Fields. I think he's going to wind up being a pretty good quarterback. He was, I think, 8th all time. When I did my Lawrence video recently, he was 6th all time in terms of high school recruits coming out of high school, and Fields was not far behind him. So there's an interesting situation with that second overall pick, but I would not trade down. I think Sam's done overall. The Jets haven't had the first overall pick in 25 years. We need to take Trevor Lawrence, period. Yes. The last time the Jets had the number 1 overall pick, we wound up going on to have sustained success for the next close to 15 years. It was 13 years? We were basically in and out of the playoffs every other year. A lot of that had to do with that first round pick and then trading, and getting all those first round picks. What do we get? We got Pennington. We got, I think it was Abraham then? Was that an Abraham draft? I think it was. I think it was Sean Ellis, and I think it was a tight end too, right? Who the hell was the tight end? We had 4 first round picks the one year. So yeah, make the pick. Make it happen. Jamie says, I love chocolate-covered pretzels. Go Jets 2022. I love chocolate-covered pretzels. Pretzel M&Ms? It's my jam. Hope my stocking gets some of those this year. Can the Jets be successful with Johnson ownership? I think they're one of the worst ownership groups in the NFL. I will say this, though. They're not afraid to spend money on players. They've gone out and they've shown time and time again that they are willing to drop a ton of money on free agents. It just hasn't worked. Now, I want them to drop the big money on the head coach because that's where things are going to get interesting. If they can drop the money on the head coach and you bring in, Bill Cowher for 5 years, $50 million, or 4 years, $60 million, whatever it's going to take to get him in, it doesn't count against the salary cap. It doesn't matter. It's just money in the owner's pocket. So if they're going to cheap out and go with a $2 or $3 million option like Adam Gase again, we're going to get a $2 or $3 million quality coach. And that's, to me, I think it's less likely that the Jets overspend on a head coach and decide to go the cheap coordinator route. But I don't know if they'll get a top coordinator because the top coordinator may be able to attract a better salary than that. Guys, that's going to be it for me. I got to jet out of here. My buddy is calling me. I haven't seen him in a few years, so I'm going to go do that. Guys, I'll be live tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock.